Teller. When this 500-pound male lion stepped into our high beams, we thought it was the end. But he didn't roar. He didn't attack. He did something impossible. He begged for his life. And what he showed us deep inside that wall of fire changed everything. You won't believe what was hidden in that smoke. The savannah was dying that night. A massive firestorm had turned the sky into a hellish shade of ember orange. Ancient trees were exploding from the heat, and volcanic rifts were opening in the very ground beneath us. We were the last wildlife rescue team on the grid, and the smoke was so thick we were driving blind. The smell of charred timber and hot ash was overwhelming. Suddenly, out of the black charcoal fog, he appeared. I slammed on the brakes, the tires screaming against the hot asphalt. A massive male lion was standing right in the center of the road. His mane was singed, covered in a thick layer of gray ash and black soot. He wasn't running away. He was standing his ground. Then he did it. He stood up on his hind legs and pressed his massive front paws together in a pleading, human-like gesture. His eyes. I will never forget his eyes. They were glassy, wet with tears, reflecting the flickering orange flames that were closing in on us. I looked at my partner and whispered, "He's not attacking us. He's begging." The lion nudged the metal handle of the ambulance door with his nose and let out a soft, urgent chuffing sound. He turned his head toward the heart of the fire and then looked back at me. He was a guide. We shifted the 3-ton truck into gear and followed him. We drove through a literal tunnel of fire, with burning logs crashing onto the road around us. Every time the smoke got too thick and we slowed down, the lion would stop. He would wait for us, making sure our yellow rescue lights were still in his sight. He was leading us deep into the red zone, where no human should ever go. Finally, he stopped at a massive, burning thicket. He pointed his head toward a fallen, charred oak tree that had collapsed into the dirt. That is when we saw her. A massive lioness was pinned under the weight of the burning timber. But it wasn't just the tree holding her back. A thick steel poaching cable was cinched tight around her rear leg, anchored deep into the ground. She was exhausted, her fur matted with blood and ash. And she was late-term pregnant. My lead ranger jumped out, screaming, "We've got a female down! She's in labor and trapped!" The heat was becoming unbearable, the air shimmering with fire. We grabbed the heavy hydraulic cutters, the metal clinking against our tactical suits. The male lion didn't move an inch. He stood over the lioness protectively, watching our hands as we moved toward her. With a massive crack and a shower of sparks, the hydraulic tool snapped the steel poaching cable. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, lift! 6 of us strained against the weight, moving her onto the heavy-duty rescue stretcher. We loaded her into the back of the ambulance just as the fire jumped the road behind us. The race was on. We flew down the highway at 70 miles per hour, sirens wailing into the dark night. But the male lion refused to be left behind. He ran alongside the ambulance, his massive paws pounding the pavement at 40 miles per hour. He kept his eyes fixed on the window, watching his mate breathe through an oxygen mask. When we reached the high-tech wildlife clinic, the doors burst open. The doctor shouted, "Clear the table, prep for an emergency C-section. We are losing the heartbeat." Inside the sterile surgery room, under the cold blue medical lights, the tension was thick to cut. The male lion sat outside the observation glass, his large paw pressed against the window. He watched every move of the scalpel. He heard the frantic beeping of the medical monitor. The room went silent as the doctor reached in. "Stimulate the lungs. Come on, little guy. Breathe for me." Then we heard it. A tiny, high-pitched cry that pierced through the sound of the medical equipment. One healthy cub. And then a second. The doctor looked at the window and gave a small nod to the father outside. The lion let out a low, vibrating purr that shook the glass. He knew his family was safe. A week later, the miracle was complete. The fire had passed, and the first green shoots were appearing through the black ash. The mother was healthy, nursing her 2 cubs in a bed of clean straw. The king of the savannah had let down his guard. He had trusted his greatest enemy to save his bloodline. As the sun began to rise over the green valley, we opened the gates for their release. The lioness and her cubs walked slowly into the tall grass. But the male lion stopped. He turned back and looked at the paramedic who had first found him on that road. For a long, silent moment, he just stared at us. Then he let out a resonant, earth-shaking roar that echoed for miles. It was a thank you that we felt in our very bones. He turned and trotted into the golden light to join his family. Go home, hero. You earned your crown.
We need another stretcher here.
Copy that. On my way.
Watch the tree! So we're coming down!
I want a head count on the evac vehicles.
Copy. Your number 4 in line backup right behind you.
Look at that.
Zebra's pushing out of the burn.
Yeah, poor things are spooked. Keep traffic slow.